Holy crap, I wasn't joking when I said work would take over my summer. But you know what? Finally done. Work's out of the way. I have a few weeks of summer before I have to go back to school and, well, before I move out of this place. So now let's just go right ahead. We're going to jump right into Rogue Squadron 2.
Alright, so as Jeff has mentioned in the Knights of the Old Republic video, yes, we have had a lot of delays with our Star Wars year thing, and the reason for that is just, as Jeff mentioned, we had school and stuff, and also me as well. Like, I had work over the summer, and that took up a lot of my time. And then, even though we had all the Sonic Let's Plays and all of those other videos, I'll also say this, we were just unprepared since I have most of the Star Wars games, and basically all of them were flight sims, and I pretty much wanted to review those, whereas my other friends, they, I'm not so sure about like whether they still have Star Wars games. I think Chris may still have a few, but it's just, we just had a lot of things on our plates, and we just never really got around to, like, you know, really working on the Star Wars stuff outside the Sonic Adventure Let's Plays. That, and also we were really on a tight schedule too, just because we were all busy and stuff, so I mean, shit happens, so let's just get on with this review. And like I said, there's been a lot of delays, and even this video as I'm recording right now is about a few weeks after from when I recorded my intro, so just get on with it, and we'll start with Rogue Squadron 2. Alright, so with the release of Rogue Squadron being a success, and also with Battle for Naboo being a success as well on the Nintendo 64, Factor 5 saw that with the new GameCube coming out, that it was a perfect opportunity to make a new Star Wars game that would have better graphics, be able to utilize the next-gen technology better, so that way they can make a flight sim that would have a better draw distance, and also be able to recreate landscapes, and as well as combat in new ways that we couldn't have done in the Nintendo 64. So unlike Rogue Squadron 1, this game was actually a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube, and I wouldn't get my hands on this game for about another year after that. But my first experience with this game was when my friend, who had actually gotten the GameCube day one along with this game, and I believe also Luigi's Mansion, he brought this game over, and we played it over at his house, and this was basically the perfect Star Wars game that I had seen, considering that for the past year or so I was all about Rogue Squadron 1 and Battle for Naboo, and even I was starting to get into the Starfighter games, which I'll get to someday. And this was actually the one GameCube game for a while that I would actually play the most out of any other GameCube game that he had, and well, it got to the point where I just had to wait for another year until that fateful day on Christmas of 2002, I believe, when I finally opened up my GameCube and all my other Christmas presents, and saw that I had Rogue Squadron 2, the game that I played for, geez, I don't know how many hours it took. I mean, I beat the game in like a day or so, but still, I just kept replaying so many missions, because replayability of this game, despite being, I would say, like, it doesn't have as much of a, like, an intriguing story in terms of the past game, considering that this game is more focused on the battles from the movies, as well as a few expanded universe battles. There really isn't like a really, how can I put it, like a full-on, like, cohesive story, you could say, like that the first one had, and even this game has fewer missions, but surprisingly the game's just more entertaining, I believe, than the first one. Maybe it's just the newer graphics, the improved gameplay, or maybe just that they're actually playing battles from the movies for the first time, at least that I know of. But other than that, before I get further, let me just finish one more thing. Newly implemented into this game is a training mode, and in this you're given 20 minutes just to roam around Luke's hometown, or his home planet of Tatooine, and essentially what training does is just to get you used to the various controls, primarily for those who are new to the game, but also for returning players. It also gives them the option to learn all of the just a few new weapons that are introduced, and as well as just like just training yourself, getting yourself used to the GameCube controller as compared to an N64, which I'll say the GameCube controller is perfect for the Star Wars flight sims. I think it's better than playing Starfighter with PlayStation controller as well as an Xbox controller, which when I get to Jedi Starfighter I'll mention that I've done both on those consoles. But yeah, with this game you can essentially do whatever you want, like in terms of your training. It's not mandatory to like with the story or anything. It's completely something you can just do on your own. You can complete, all the challenges in here, but either way, even if you don't finish everything, it's not gonna count against you. It's merely just for completionists' bragging rights. But then again, you can also just fool around and just like watch as you randomly blow random shit up, since somehow everything is combustible in this game. One last thing about the training also is that when you play in training mode, the position of the sun changes, since the day-night system in this is hooked up to the clock on your GameCube. This level, along with the Imperial Academy heist, are the only ones that do that. Though the Imperial Academy heist is strictly just one set during the day and one set during the night, and outside of that, it would have been nice though to see some of the other levels that could have had a day and night system. It would have made it more interesting. But then again, it's just a case of shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. So just like in the first Rogue Squadron, the majority of the spacecraft from the first game returns, though the V-Wing is nowhere to be found. But in its place, we got the B-Wing, and also a few additional unlockable craft. Also, like in the first Rogue Squadron, once you get past a certain level, the additional craft will be unlockable to play in earlier levels. So, like for example, in the first mission, you can only choose the X-Wing to attack the Death Star, but when you get further in the game, you'll be able to unlock the Y-Wing and then replay it as the Y-Wing. But in some cases, some craft are better for some missions. Others can make your life a living hell. I'm looking at you, Razor Rendezvous, when you play as the B-Wing for the first time. But unless you're like me who uses the Naboo Starfighter for this, it's a lot easier. But do we really have to get to the really difficult mission at the end? Do we? Okay, fine. Yes, I will say this game is actually pretty easy for the most part. Though once you get to the final level, the one where you're attacking the Death Star, that's when shit really gets real. But for the most part, most of the game is pretty easy to play. I think it's even easier than the first Rogue Squadron. Though for first timers, and as well as for those playing on a GameCube controller, they might find some difficulty with this game. I know I certainly did, but more so just because I was too busy exploring everything rather than just actually fighting and doing all that stuff. But yeah, be prepared to have your ass handed to you in the final level. And holy shit did they make this level hard. It's not even hard because your own deaths. It's going to be difficult because you have to guard the Millennium Falcon's ass, and believe me, if you stray away for 1 second, you're going to be seeing this a lot. So yeah, an important tip for this: stay as close to the Millennium Falcon as possible, and just distance yourself a little when you start seeing TIE fighters and interceptors as well. Get near it, because if you stray too far away, your ass is going to be handed to you. And believe me, even the fighters as well as the turrets are going to kill you. such as that right there. And even that can cost you the Millennium Falcon if you stray too far. But once you get near the exhaust port, you can then just shoot ahead and just start the cutscene, because it won't matter even if the Millennium Falcon blows up, which actually has happened to me before, but the game didn't register it, and I was able to complete the or continue the level. And we have this nightmare. This piece of shit where you have to fly through the fucking Death Star, and then once you blow it up, you then have to get out of there as fast as possible, all the while dodging the Millennium Falcon, since that thing decides to speed up and completely screw you over. In this case, I didn't even get to it, even though I have beaten this level and I have gotten medals on it. I didn't even bother to do it this time, at least for this, just because it usually takes me about 20 tries to get this level complete. And I mean, this was certainly a difficulty spike in this level. Well, the difficulty spike in the whole game. But yeah, I've never tried this game on Ace mode, which that'll get to after this. But yeah, when you start blowing up the Death Star and you have to escape, you better get out of there quick, or else you're gonna get blown up. And the thing is that if you have the infinite cheat code on, every so often the explosion gets closer and closer, no matter how many times you die, and then it gets to the point where essentially you guys get overwhelmed. And I don't know if this is just my copy, but I think it may be every copy of Rogue Squadron 2. But for some reason, when you die enough and you have the infinite life code on, what will happen is that the audio will start stuttering big time. Every so often you'll get huge amounts of lag once you're leaving the Death Star. And then finally, all the game audio will cut completely, and I even had my game crash once just because of that. Man, that level was just... I mean, I was on edge the first time I beat this level, and I was finally done with this game, but yeah, it's something that even if I do this game as a Let's Play, which I really plan on doing, it's definitely something that's going to have to be edited heavily, so... enough of that, me ranting on the final level. Let's continue on with that Ace mode thing I was talking about. So with Ace mode, you have the ability to play the game on a much more difficult level. Only thing though is the game doesn't really care if you're accurate or anything. It doesn't care how many lives you lose. All that matters is that you completed the mission with no mission fails whatsoever. And simply that's basically it. From what I know, I have about maybe 6 of them, and I didn't even unlock it legitimately. I just got the Ace mode through a cheat code since I unlocked it, and ever since I unlocked it, I've never had it taken out of my game, since I've had that happen with both Rogue Squadron and 2, where I entered cheat codes back when I was like 8 years old, and well, for this game when I was like, yeah, probably like 10, and the codes just got stuck in there, and usually they won't go away unless I delete my game file, which that's not going to happen. So with that, that's Rogue Squadron 2. And as for a Let's Play, I'm actually really thinking of going and doing a Let's Play of this game, since it's pretty quick to complete, though that last level is certainly going to be one that's going to be interesting. So with that, this is Matt from Studio 41. Sorry about the whole delays on this, and as well as just the year of Star Wars in general. We hope to continue on with what we have from now until we close everything in December. And with that, thanks for watching.